In this video, I want to talk about how we should respond when a Christian leader has bad teaching or has a moral failure. And I think this is important to talk about for a few reasons. When I look up Bible teaching on a particular topic, I usually find a lot of different Christian perspectives. And that can be kind of confusing. How do you know who's right about a particular topic? And there are some Bible teachers that have really good teaching on many topics, but then on a few topics, their teaching is so wrong that I'm reluctant to recommend their teaching to someone else. So how do we sort out who has trustworthy teaching? And then what about when a respected Christian leader ends up in a scandal involving money or sex? That can be a really devastating disappointment if you've trusted in that leader to teach you the ways of God. So I want to talk about how to sort out the confusion, how to identify a false teacher, and then how to see Christian leaders in the light of Christ, even when they have bad ideas and moral failures. So the first thing that we need to do is make a distinction between false teachers and good teachers who just have some bad ideas. The Bible warns us to watch out for false teachers. So what does it mean to be a false teacher? 2 Peter chapter 2 tells us, "But there were also false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. They will secretly introduce destructive heresies, even denying the sovereign Lord who bought them, bringing swift destruction on themselves." So this says that these teachers introduce destructive heresies. What is a heresy? A heresy is an idea that goes against the core beliefs of the Christian faith. Not all bad ideas are heresy. So someone can have some bad ideas and not be a heretic or a false teacher. This says they will secretly introduce destructive heresies, even denying the sovereign Lord who bought them. So when we're talking about false prophets and false teachers, we're not just talking about people with a few bad ideas. We're talking about people whose ideas are so bad that they are even denying who the Lord is and what he has done for us. A passage in 1 John gives us a good rule of thumb for identifying someone who's truly a false teacher. It says, "Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. This is how you can recognize the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God. But every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus is not from God." If someone denies that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh to die for the sins of the world, then that person is a false teacher. We're talking about someone who denies the core and essential belief about Jesus, not someone who disagrees on a topic like the method of baptism. There are hundreds of things that Christians disagree about, and we can't all be right. All of your beloved Bible teachers and Christian leaders are probably wrong about something and maybe about many things. So it's good to accept that up front. So how do you know who is right about a particular topic? Well, the best thing to do is to ask God and to do research yourself. Study the Bible and try to discover what the truth is. But you also need to accept that you might not get all the right answers. And that's okay. It's okay to not have all the right answers about everything. You can still listen to a Christian teacher who has some ideas that you don't agree with. For example, there's a famous evangelist that I went and I saw him preach one time. And he beautifully explained the gospel. Many people went forward to be saved. thousands and maybe even millions of people have come to know Jesus through this man. But this man also has some teachings that are not good. And at times, this man has taught false ideas about wealth, and he's been accused of living a life of greed and excess. So I've heard some people talk about this man and say that he's a false teacher. And sometimes they've even quoted Matthew 7 that says, "By their fruit you will recognize them. Every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit." Well, there does seem to be some bad fruit in this man's life, but there's also a lot of good fruit. So I don't believe this man qualifies as a false teacher, even if he has some wrong ideas that are leading to some bad behavior. There's a difference between a false teacher and a good teacher who has some wrong ideas and wrong actions. A good teacher is someone who upholds the truth about Christ. A false teacher denies the Lord and leads people away from Christ. Well, what about when a Christian leader's bad behavior leads people away from Christ? What happens when a Christian leader just has a moral failure? We've all heard about scandals involving Christian leaders, and some of us have experienced that disappointment firsthand. Maybe your favorite Bible teacher or pastor just got caught in an adulterous affair or some other kind of sexual misconduct or horrible abuse of power. And if this is someone that you really respected and learned from, that can cause a lot of confusion and heartbreak and bring up questions like, was this person really just faking it the whole time? Were they really a Christian? And I respected that person so much. How could someone with such knowledge and a seemingly real relationship with God do such a horrible thing? Well, there is a possibility that that leader was a fraud and a charlatan, but much more often, the truth is that that Christian leader that you respected is just a weak and broken human being, much like yourself. Someone can be completely sincere and still fall into temptation or get deceived and act in ways that betray their true conviction. Galatians chapter 6 gives us a way to respond when leaders or anyone disappoints us. Brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently. But watch yourselves, or you also may be tempted. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. If anyone thinks they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. Nevertheless, the one who receives instruction in the word should share all good things with their instructor. So let's break this down. This says that if someone is caught in a sin, we should restore that person gently. It doesn't say that we should judge them. It doesn't say that we should find Bible verses to quote against them. It says, restore. And it gives us a warning that we should do it gently so that we don't end up getting tempted ourselves. What does that mean? Well, if we decide to harshly judge someone else, we may find ourselves in a place of weakness and temptation. Are you strong? Have you been able to stand firm against certain types of sin? Well, good. Thank God for that. Thank God that you've never been in a situation that would be so difficult that it would expose your weakness and cause you to be tempted. You really don't know what kind of weakness you have until you get put in a truly tempting situation. So your job, it says here, is not to judge your fallen brother, but to carry his burden. Don't deceive yourself into thinking that you're someone greater. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just carry the load that the Lord has given you. And this says that you should share all good things with your instructor. So, what have you received from God? Have you received forgiveness, grace, mercy, and love from God? What you have received from God, give to all others. Understand that all humans are fallible. Even good Christian leaders can be totally wrong about things, and they can have moral failures. Sometimes we do need to confront people about bad ideas and about moral failures, but we do it in a spirit to restore, not to attack and destroy. We can learn from Bible teachers and Christian leaders without trusting in them as the source of goodness and light. If you are trusting in a Christian leader that much, then you have misplaced your trust. Listen to the words of Jesus. He said, "No one is good except God alone." There is no truly good Bible teacher or Christian leader. The only truly good teacher is the Lord Jesus Christ. So keep your trust in him. Keep your eyes on him. And to everyone else, give them the grace that the Lord has given you. Thanks for watching this video. I hope that this video helps you if you've tried to sort out confusion about teaching, or if you've had disappointment from a Christian leader. So I know that can be really hard to deal with, and I pray that God gives you the grace and the love to be able to see everyone with those same eyes of grace that the Lord sees you with. Thanks for watching, and God bless you.